Hey Nine, so I had a request for a video on page 456, number 14. So the question was, a cone has a height equal to its diameter, and if the volume of the cone is 200 meters cubed, determine the height of the cone to the nearest tenth of a meter. So we know what the volume is, right? The volume is 200. And we know that the formula for the volume of a cone is pi r squared h all over 3. So it says the height is equal to its diameter. So let's make the height equal to d, the diameter. And then the only other thing we need then is the radius. Well, we know that the radius is half the diameter. Right? Anytime we have a circle, our radius is half the diameter. So if we think about our cone then, so let's make one. Right, this is the diameter right here. The diameter of the circle is the distance across the middle of your circle. And it's not really a circle, but we can pretend it is. And so then the radius then is going to be half that. So if the diameter and the height are, the diameter and the height are the exact same length, and the height is just going to be d, and radius is half the diameter, so then the radius is just 1/2 d. So now we can substitute that all into our formula. So we have 200, which is the volume. We have pi. Then we have our radius squared, so that is 1/2 d all squared times d all over 3. So I can simplify this a little bit. I get 200 is equal to pi. I know that this squared goes with, because this is a multiplication and this is a division, then this squared goes with all the pieces inside. So the squared goes with the 1, the squared goes with the d, and the squared goes with the 2. So 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, and d squared is d squared. And then that's still being multiplied by d, and that is all over 3. So once again, 200 is equal to, I'm going to take the quarter out front, so I have 1/4 pi, and then d squared times d is just d cubed, and all of that is over 3. So now what I can do is I can take the 3 to the other side. So when I take this is like d cubed divided by 3, so it's going to be 200 times 3, and 200 times 3 is 600, and that's equal to 1/4 pi d cubed. So now what I want to do then is I want to take this part, the quarter pi, and move it to the other side. Well, it's a quarter pi times d cubed. So when I move it to the other side, I'm going to do the opposite operation, which is a division. So it's going to be 600 divided by 1/4 pi is equal to d cubed. Now, I'm going to show you what that is approximately. So let's use our calculator. So we have 600, and we're going to divide that by, and remember, because this is an expression on the bottom, it has to go in brackets. So it's going to be 1/4. So I'm going to do 0.25 times pi and close my bracket, and I get 763.9437268. So I'm just going to do that as one decimal, so 763.9. Remember, when you look at the number after the decimal, that tells you whether you have to round up or not. In this case, the 9 stays. So 763.9 is approximately equal to d cubed. Well, we want to know what d is, not what d cubed is. So in order to figure that out, we need to take this over the equal sign. Well, when you take a square over the equal sign, you do a square root. So when you take a cubed over the equal sign, we're going to do a cubed root of 763.9. And that is going to be approximately equal to d. When you have a square root sign, you don't have to write the 2. It's one of those mathematical things, just like if you start off with a positive number, you don't have to write the plus sign, and if you have 1x squared, you don't have to write the 1. So it's another one of those things. If you have a square root, you don't have to write the 2, but if you have a cubed root, you have to write the 3. So we're going to cube root 763.9. So let's see how we can do that on our calculator. Now, we all have different calculators. If I look here, I have the square root above the pi, and then I have this x and a square root above y to the x. So you may have something similar. And so what this allows you to do then is it allows you to take allows you to indicate whether you want a cube root, a fourth root, a fifth root, etc. So we want a cube root, so I'm going to do 3. And then I'm going to go second function and hit that button just below the sign that I'm looking for. And then I'm going to type in 763.9. And so now this returns 9.1. So 9.1 is approximately equal to D. So what that means is if I take 9.1 and I multiply it by itself 3 times, right? So if I put that back in here, in here, if I take 9.1 and I multiply it by itself 3 times, I'll get 763.9. So when I take this cube root over, I'm trying to find a number that when it gets multiplied by itself, so 9.1 times 9.1 times 9.1, I get 763.9. And I can show you. So if I do 9.1 times 9.1 times 9.1, I get, it's a little bit less because it had a whole bunch of decimals on the end, which as you can see become really important, but we were told to write it to the nearest tenth of a meter. So this is really important. When you're looking at the nearest meter, that's a whole number. So the tenth of a meter would be 1 decimal. And then the hundredth of a meter would be 2 decimals, etc. So we wrote that to 1 decimal, which is why we get a little bit of rounding error when we multiply it by itself 3 times. So then to answer the question, it says determine the height of the cone. Well, the height is equal to the diameter. So therefore, the height of the cone is 9.1 meters. Hope that helps.